So earlier today we covered, and I covered it on the podcast as well as the Twitch stream, and it's probably worthwhile saying again, the Department of Justice labeling New York, Seattle, and Portland as anarchist jurisdictions. The irony of this is that the way they define anarchy, none of those cities remotely reflect any level of anarchy, any interpretation of anarchy. The academic definition of anarchy, the politicized definition of anarchy, none of these cities remotely reflect it. But what they are they are democratically run cities. And they are cities where protests have not been brutally suppressed except by, well, no, I'm sorry, correction. New York cracked down hard as bricks on protests. Portland, you had federal agents crack down on protests. And I think you had the Portland PD out there cracking down. This is the absurdity of it. The absurdity of it is never enough for the fascist in chief, Donald Trump. Video after video. I don't think I've made a mistake that big and long, because I had to just really put myself back in the mindset of this summer. Video after video, the police cracked down so brutally on people. They were out there in Seattle. I remember something from Seattle. There's a clip of a soccer mom, a wine mom, in her pink bike helmet being tackled. White woman being tackled by like 7 police officers. I can't wait for fall and winter to really get here to get rid of these flies. Forgive me for the tangent. So Seattle, you had a brutal crackdown. Portland, we saw a brutal crackdown. New York was nonstop brutal. They were beating bicycle messengers, delivering messages and delivering food. They were just out there randomly hitting. It was a police riot all summer long. And so by the very definition, the erroneous definition that Donald Trump uses in terms of law and order and anarchy, it wasn't enough for the police to brutally crack down on protesters. He's still trying to punish the cities because the protests happened in the first place. If you can't, let me start that sentence over. We have to be able to reasonably see the type of threat that Donald Trump is, in that the brutal crackdown that we saw over the summer, where the police in, was it Buffalo, New York? They pushed a 75-year-old man to the concrete so hard that you could hear his head crack, reverberate through the square, through the plaza. But that wasn't good enough for Donald Trump. So now he's labeled these cities as anarchist jurisdictions so that he can strip funding away from those cities as a way of punishing those cities. 1, because they're democratically led cities. 2, because protests have been happening on a regular basis despite the police brutality. And 3, because it gives him political capital. He knows that he can get a political advantage doing these things. We're dealing with some really tumultuous times. We're dealing with a fascist, and I don't care if he is your precise definition of fascism. Kiss my butt with that. I know we're streaming to a whole lot of places, so I'm gonna watch my mouth. Hang on a second. I'm so bugged out by that, because it has been so busy. It's been so ridiculously wild in terms of politics, the presidential election, everything. I really had, for a split second there, forgot about how brutal the police cracked down, specifically in New York, specifically in Portland, and specifically in Seattle. And those are the cities that Donald Trump targeted to defund them, because those cities are anarchist jurisdictions. The biggest threat, the people who will be targeted the most by Donald Trump won't be, and no offense to quote unquote liberals or neoliberals or centrists. I'm not here on the stream, not today, to argue neoliberalism, centrism. But I am going to say something. I don't think, unless you consider yourself a centrist and you're out there protesting, the people who are really going to be targeted the most by this administration are those of us who really do hold radical economic ideas, radical, quote unquote, because they're not radical by international standards at all. Those of us who hold, quote unquote, radical political ideas about how we should organize our government. Socialists, definitely communists. Donald Trump has found political capital in targeting us, even to the point of killing us. And we're going to be the ones who are going to be penalized and brutalized the most, especially those who have the unmitigated gall from Donald Trump's perspective to go out into the streets and protest. Those of us who sit comfortably at home. I mean, I might get targeted because I got a big enough audience and I say shit on Twitter that gets as many likes and retweets as Donald Trump. Sometimes, not all the time. Every now and then, I'll say something. Hell, I should bring up some of my wildest stuff. So I'll be targeted, even though I'm at home comfortably. They got my IP address. They know where I am. I'm sure I'll be targeted and charged with in a RICO case. But most certainly the people who are literally out there protesting, which generally have been like in the long haul over the summer, there've been like a lot of leftist socialists. He's going to crack down so hard on us. And I say that not to make us afraid, but I say that because I want us to know that we gotta get rid of Donald Trump at all costs. We can't take it as a statement of virtue to say, I'm not afraid of Donald Trump. You can't make me afraid of Donald Trump. And because I'm not afraid of Donald Trump, I'm not going to fight Donald Trump. I think that's a tremendous folly, a grave error. I'm not afraid of Donald Trump, which is why I will fight him head on. I am afraid for my friends and my comrades who are out in the streets, who have taken the risk of COVID-19 and say, it's worth it for me to be in the streets protesting. I'm afraid for you all because Donald Trump has found political capital in targeting you specifically and us generally.